6 o'clock here on your Wednesday morning. Welcome into Morning Jox here on Jox 94.5. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you until 7 o'clock. Recapping everything you missed last night, keeping you up to date on everything going on, not only in the world of college football, but just the world of sports in general. And we do have a lot to get to today. We had a lot of action last night, not only in the world of Major League Baseball. You had the Auburn Tigers finishing up the midweek portion of their regular season slate in the world of SEC baseball. We also had some NBA postseason action last night. We had some big, recruiting news in the world of college football. We got some basketball portal news. Essentially everything that you could want in the world of sports on a day in the middle of May. You got it this morning. So we've got a ton to get to. Appreciate y'all joining us here this morning, and I really appreciate our guy Lewis, who has already sent in, of course, his Texas A&M Mount Rushmore. If you have missed the show here for the past few days, we are currently doing our SEC Mount Rushmore series. So we're going through and picking the 4 greatest college football players in the history of all 16 SEC programs. So today we are going to be doing the Texas A&M Aggies. So you have some time to go ahead. If you haven't put your list together already, you can do so. Send it over to us at 205-834-9450, where we will read it and we will react, and we will either agree with you or we will laugh. And if your list mentions Kellen Mond, then Damian's going to have a come apart on
I've already tuned it out.
Live on the air this morning.
I've already tuned it out. It's as much disdain as I have for him. When you look at some of the passing numbers from Texas A&M history, his name pops up. But it does go to the fact that longevity, it could help you in this situation. And also, when your history isn't really that long, it isn't really that extensive of quote-unquote great players, you kind of find yourself in the boat. But
so sidebar to start the show, is Kellen Mond the second best quarterback that Jimbo Fisher ever had besides Jameis?
No, I'm sure he had some guys. When he
you sure there's somebody else in there that
I'm sure there's some other quarterbacks.
Yeah, their names escaping us right now, but they're out there. Okay. I didn't know. I didn't. Maybe by the end of the show you'll be ready to acknowledge something like that. That was my bad. It's too early. I understand. I get it. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing a little bit later in the show. So go ahead and send those in. Texas A&M Mount Rushmore. I'll be honest. This one was honestly pretty easy for me going back, and it's pretty even. I'll go ahead and tell you, I had 2 guys on the offensive side of the ball, 2 guys on the defensive side of the ball. And I think at least for people that are maybe closer to our age, Damian, right, in their 30s, probably have a pretty similar list to us. But we will certainly see. Again, 205-834-9450 if you want to send in your Texas A&M Mount Rushmore, and we will read those later on in the show. But quickly getting to everything that you may have missed last night. Let's start off there on the plains of Auburn with Auburn baseball, as they had their midweek, their finale of the midweek season against Jacksonville State there on the plains of Auburn. And Auburn sent a message. They certainly were ready to play last night as they take down the Gamecocks 19-1. 19-1. So if you go back to what they did to South Carolina in the first game of that series last weekend, and they had a walk-off on a bunt in the second game, but they still put up 11 runs in that one. So the bats have been working for the Auburn Tigers. If you missed it, according to some publications, Auburn moved up to as high as number 2 team in the country this week.
War Eagles.
So things, and very fitting considering the shirt that Damian's wearing today.
Yeah. They've there's some jokes I want to throw out there, but it's only 6:04 in the morning. Just,
it's
going
early.
From the Gamecocks over the weekend and then Gamecocks last night. It was just, man, it's early.
Say it with your chest. No, what is it?
No, I mean, they got it.
I'm not good at connecting the dots.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you're gonna have to come out and say it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna get it.
It's towing the line.
It's towing the line. Okay.
It's towing the line.
That's all right. We've got another 50 minutes left to go. Maybe it'll come out at some point there. But this is a storyline that I know Damian will certainly appreciate. And this was a very, very cool story if you If you noticed this during the Auburn game last night. But so in the bottom of the 5th inning, you have a batter steps up to the plate by the name of Andrew Dutton. He would step up to the plate. He would go on, hit a home run. It was his first at bat of the season. And you're thinking, oh, okay, wow, this is really cool. Maybe this is, a freshman or somebody that was a walk-on the team, and this was their opportunity to, hey, we're kind of up big in this one. We're going to let you get in a couple innings before the end of the regular season. But no, it was actually a super senior transfer from Birmingham Southern College. So Andrew Dutton spent the first 4 years of his career at Birmingham Southern. Then he transfers to Auburn after they closed their doors, unfortunately, after last season and that incredible run they had in the postseason there. But so first at bat of the season for him as an Auburn Tiger, first at bat ever after transferring to Auburn, and he hits a home run. The guy had been Auburn's first base coach this season, and he gets up to the plate. He gets his one opportunity, and the coolest part was watching the Auburn dugout after he hit that home run. Everybody, they were fired up for Andrew Dutton. And I know that had to put a smile on your face, Damian, with you being a BSC alum and all the love you have for your former alma mater and just everything that went on there the last couple of years. That was a very cool moment. Even
from the grave, man, we're still making an impact. It's still making an impact, dog. But no, it was absolutely wonderful, man. You think of, the sports stories and things that he couldn't even control, and yet even on the biggest stage and his first at bat as an Auburn Tiger, he knocks it out the park, man. You can't draw things up like that, man. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a little bit of a feel-good story there to start off your Wednesday here with us on Morning Jox, but a big win there for Auburn, 19-1 over JSU. They will now wrap up their regular season this weekend as they're going to travel to Oxford, take on the Ole Miss Rebels. But yeah, a fantastic season so far for Auburn, but a lot left to accomplish in the postseason, obviously. And then, of course, next week here in Hoover for the SEC baseball tournament that we all very much so look forward to. All right, continuing on with the Diamond in the world of Major League Baseball, you did have the Braves and Nationals in action last night. We told you yesterday, going into the game, the Braves were 0-5 this season in games where they had an opportunity to get to 500. So they've had some opportunities this year to get back to a winning record. Couldn't do it, Damian. So was last night finally going to be the night? Actually, yes, it was. So good news for the Braves fans, something that you haven't seen in quite some time, and that is a 500 or better record. And that is exactly where you find yourself right now as the Braves get a 5-2 victory over the Nats. They are now 21-21 on the season. You had Drake Baldwin with a 2-run home run there early on in the 4th inning for the Atlanta Braves. Nationals had gotten out to a 2-0 lead early in the game. Then it was all Braves the rest of the way as they scored 5 unanswered runs. You had Austin Riley, RBI single, Albies, RBI single, Drake Baldwin, 2-run home run. So a little bit from everybody last night. Schwelly on the bump, really solid outing for him. He goes 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, strikes out 3 there. So his ERA now 3.31 on the season there for the Bravos. So a big win there for the Braves as they are now 21-21, and they sit 6.5 games back of the New York Mets there in the National League East, 3.5 back of the Philadelphia Phillies. And they will be back in action tonight. Game 3 of their 4-game set coming up again tonight. Going to be the same first pitch as it was the last couple nights, if I'm not mistaken. 6:15, you're going to have the pregame show here on Jox at 6 o'clock following the Paul Feinbaum show. So that's what you have going on in Braves country. But the big news in the world of Major League Baseball, and I know this is going to be a point of contention for some of you, I will go ahead and say this. I'm a big fan of this. I wanted this to happen. Unfortunately, before this individual passed away, but unfortunately, we didn't get a resolution on it until yesterday. But if you missed it, the big news coming out of Major League Baseball is Rob Manfred, the commissioner. He announced yesterday that he has removed the lifetime ban, or he has removed these people's names from the permanently ineligible list for Major League Baseball. And that would be Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and other deceased players, a lot of them from that Black Sox scandal there with Shoeless Joe. But essentially saying, hey, these guys paid the ultimate price. They were banned for life. And now that their life, they have passed away, they have paid their penalty, and they will now be eligible for consideration for the Hall of Fame as part of the Classic Era Baseball Committee. So that group will not vote again on the Hall of Fame class until 2027. So it's going to be a few years. But the belief is that I can't imagine they're not going to put him. I mean, he has the most hits all time. I understand how people feel about gambling. I understand why he got the punishment that he did. It's just unfortunate for me because these are the kinds of things I understand the sentiment of, okay, you passed away. You're no longer a threat to the game of baseball. But I think we can all agree that we would have liked to see him be able to enjoy this while he was still alive.
Yep. And, I'm not going to compare sins, but like Shoeless Joe Jackson, like it's known, like they threw
what he did was significantly worse than Pete Rose.
Right. Like they
absolutely.
And again, baseball was completely different back then, but they intentionally threw not just a regular season game. We're talking about a World Series. In the World Series for money. And if you're going to punish Pete Rose, who didn't even bet against his own team, like he didn't play around with his own team. He was just trying to, make a few dollars around the league. But, I agree with you. It's one thing to not let them, not have Pete Rose accept his flowers while he was still with us. And, like you said, if this is kind of just MLB saying, enough time has passed and they're gone, so there's no, all right, cool. But it's kind of like now, it's the question of why, okay, now we're going to, because now I start thinking about, okay, say if A-Rod does, he doesn't get in.
Are we going to do this for steroids players too, where it's like, okay, once they die, we'll put them in the Hall of Fame?
Right.
Because that's messed up in my opinion.
Exactly. That's exactly where my brain went. It was, okay, so you're telling me I'm going to be in my 50s or 60s by the time I get a chance to see Barry Bonds go into the Hall of Fame because, the long ball era. Like, okay, like, we get it. They juiced. If anything, it brought more excitement to your sport. Yeah, you can slap them on the wrist, but to deny them the accolades that they deserve, you can't tell the story of the sport without them. Like, you can't look at the home run list and not have him in there. And you can't look at, his resume compared to everybody else that's in the Hall of Fame, his looks a little different compared to everybody else's.
Well, and that's where I go. I think you hit the nail on the head with what you said is every sport, any history museum that you're going to go to, there's going to be bad stuff in there, right? There's going to be stuff from dark periods of history, however you want to spin that, whatever you are looking at or whatever you're observing the history of. And part of that in the game of baseball is what happened with Pete Rose. It is what happened with Shoeless Joe Jackson. It is the steroid era. Do you think that the executives and the owners were having a problem when TV numbers were going through the roof because players wanted to tune in and watch players crush home runs? They were loving it, right? So if you're going to embrace it while it's happening because you realize it's good for, entertainment, then can we not accept that maybe it's a pretty important part of the history of the game? And whether or not, again, if we need to build an infamous wing or whatever you want to call it in the Hall of Fame to recognize people who maybe have a little bit of a black eye on their resume, but obviously on the field are more than worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we're talking about, again, regardless of how you feel about what some of these people did, I mean, some of the best players ever of all time. I mean, you can't tell me that regardless of if you hate him or love him, a guy like Barry Bonds doesn't deserve to be enshrined in a Hall of Fame as one of the most important players in the history of the game of baseball. Like, you don't have to like the guy, but you can't deny how good he was and what he did for the game of baseball. So, again, not trying to go off on a huge tangent there. I get mad anytime we talk about that stuff because I think it's ridiculous. But it is what it is. But I am glad that we at least, it seems there will be an opportunity for guys like Pete Rose to now be in the Hall of Fame. Again, wish it had happened while he was still alive and he could have potentially gotten to enjoy that for himself. But I guess this is better than nothing. So that was the big news yesterday, though. And again, they will not be voted on until December of 2027. So the earliest that Pete Rose and these other guys could get enshrined would be the summer of 2028. So it'll be a little bit of time, but That's what's going on there in the world of Major League Baseball. But we do have some news as well in the world of college football and college basketball. A big player finding himself now in the transfer portal mix in the world of college hoops. We'll tell you who it is and some potential SEC landing spots for him, as well as the #1 overall recruit in college football has made his commitment. Where will he be playing? We'll tell you all that next on the other side here on Morning Jox and Jox 94.5. Is this in 1975?
What you know about that?
Paige is a big fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, they got some bangers, dog. I stumbled upon them a couple years ago. One of my buddies. I was like, "Hey, who is this? I can rock with this."
They got some good stuff.
No, they really do. Like they really do. One of my buddies is a huge fan. He saw him, I think, in Atlanta one time, and he's been hooked ever since. And yeah, they
all right,
boy. I thought I was gonna stump you for a second.
Oh no.
You're familiar. I was unfamiliar with the game, Conrad.
Well, I do what I can. Thanks to my wife. Shout out to Paige for showing me different music than what I listen to. 6:20. Welcome in Wednesday edition of Morning Jox here. Conrad and Damian with you. If you're just now joining us, recapping what happened. Big win for Auburn baseball yesterday over JSU. Braves get to 500, and MLB ends the lifetime ban on Pete Rose as he will now be eligible to. For consideration for the Hall of Fame starting in 2027. So that's the big news in the world of baseball. Quickly, you did have some basketball going on yesterday as we have our first team in the Eastern Conference Finals as the Indiana Pacers take out the Cleveland Cavaliers, with a gentleman's sweep in 5 games. So they win 114-105 yesterday. Tyrese Halliburton, big game there for the Pacers, 31.6 boards, 8 assists. To lead them over the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell, 35 points, 9 rebounds after getting hurt in Game 4. So really impressive. Certainly can't put that on him, but a very disappointing postseason for a Cleveland Cavaliers team that had looked like they had been the best team in the East all season long. And they have a lot of young talent, but they find themselves, their season ended short yet again. And the Pacers now going back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second straight year. And it looks like we will find out tonight, but it looks like they're going to be facing the New York Knicks, who will be playing the Celtics tonight in Game 5. If the Knicks win, they will be headed to the Eastern Conference Finals to face the Pacers as well. So big win there for the Pacers last night. You also had the Oklahoma City Thunder. They make a miraculous comeback in the fourth quarter. The Denver Nuggets had them dead to rights, essentially. And then they outscored the Nuggets 34-19 there in the fourth to get the 112-105 win. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31.6 boards, 7 assists there for the presumptuous MVP there for the OKC Thunder. And then Nikola Jokic, man, all he did was go for 44 and 15. And
like, what else can he do?
Team collapses at the end. Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, if I'm him, yeah.
Like, help me. Help me. Because I'm telling you, third quarter, I thought Jamal Murray was about to ice the game for the Nuggets. Like, I started dozing off in the fourth quarter. And then, like, as I'm kind of like going in and out, I see one thing about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his style, it's almost like Luka, where it's not exciting, it's not necessarily entertaining, but he is an absolute bucket getter. Oh my gosh. Like, you're not going to dictate his pace. He is going to play the game how he does, get out of the way, and if you stop it, congratulations, because not many people can.
Yeah, no, he's an absolute force to be reckoned with, and that's why you're going to see him being named the MVP, as I would imagine, for this last season. He's been incredible for a long time, really his entire career since he came up with the Clippers before he got traded to OKC. But yeah, he's a special player, and for Jokic, man, I mean, you just look at him. He's 5 of 7 from the 3-point line. Think about this. He's your center. He is 5 of 7 from the 3-point line. The rest of the team goes 8 of 39 from 3. Couldn't buy a shot last night. Jamal Murray, he goes 3 of 13 from behind the arc. Aaron Gordon, 1 for 5. Michael Porter Jr., 0 for 5. Michael Porter Jr., man, I don't know what's happened to him. He looked like he was going to be one of the best young players in the league a couple years ago, and it hasn't come to fruition for him. So
he got that money, though.
Yeah,
got that money. See what happens.
You're right. But now OKC, they're up 3-2. So Denver trying to send it to a Game 7. OKC trying to send themselves to the Western Conference Finals. And then again, as I mentioned tonight, you have Knicks and Celtics. If the Knicks win, they will take that series in 5. And then you have Warriors and Timberwolves. Timberwolves up 3-1 as well. So potentially 2 clinchers tonight in the NBA. All right, let's get to what's going on in the world of college football, though. So you do have, actually, let's start in college basketball, my bad, and then we'll go to college football. So in the world of college basketball, Arkansas star, I should say former Arkansas star, Boogie Fland, he announced yesterday that he is going to remove his name from the NBA draft, and he is now going to test the transfer portal waters, and it looks like there's some early buzz for him to land here in the SEC. So the early favorite for Boogie Fland next year is the defending champion Florida Gators. That seems to be the way that a lot of people are expecting this to go, or at least, they'll take a pass at him. If they decide, hey, maybe we're going to spend this money somewhere else, then he'll perhaps land somewhere else. But Florida certainly seems to be the early pick there. But some other schools that I know are in the mix, or at least are kicking the tires on him and hope they are in the mix. That would include St. John's, North Carolina. I've heard Alabama has been kicking the tires on him, even going back a couple of weeks now. And I don't know about Auburn. Haven't heard anything on the Auburn front, but I have to imagine a player of his caliber, you're certainly going to at least have a conversation about it. But right now, Florida seems to be the leader in the clubhouse. And then I would say St. John's, Alabama, and North Carolina seem to be kind of in that next group up for Boogie Flan. So that's the big news there in the college basketball world. And then in the college football world, if you did miss it yesterday, it was announced that Alabama, their season opener against Florida State, that is going to be a 2:30 kickoff on Saturday, August the 30th from down there in Tallahassee. So go ahead and mark your calendars. That's when the Tide will open their season. And a quick reminder that Auburn and Baylor, they will open their season on a Friday because we reminded some people of that yesterday, and it was, oh, yeah, I'd already forgotten that. So, yeah, just go ahead and remember Auburn and Baylor, that's going to be a Friday game. Alabama, Florida State, a Saturday 2:30 kickoff there in week 1.
Make sure those boys are hydrated in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a warm one.
Absolutely. It certainly will be. But yeah, that's going to be an exciting way to kick off the college football season. If you're an Alabama fan, we did also get a coaching extension in the world of the Big Ten yesterday as Brett Bielema, he got a new 6-year extension at Illinois. He will now make $7.7 million a year in Illinois. If you paid attention to our top 15 post-spring rankings on three-man front, we all had Illinois in our top 15. Illinois getting a lot of love this year. A lot of people expecting them to be kind of the Indiana of last year because they have a very favorable schedule. You got a good quarterback in Luke Altmaier, and last year I think they really impressed a lot of people. So big news there for Brett Bielema out at Illinois. You did also, as I teased earlier, have the number 1 overall recruit, at least according to On3 Sports, in the 2026 class. He committed yesterday. It's offensive tackle Jackson Cantwell. He chooses Miami over Georgia, Ohio State, and Oregon. Reports coming out that he is going to be making $2.5 million this year as an offensive lineman at Miami. Or excuse me, I guess next year because it's 2026. But his first year on campus, he will make $2.5 million reportedly. And I saw that Georgia was at about half that. So,
hey, if that's the going rate for lineman, good job. Seems a little thick if you ask me, but
there was
hey, get your money, brother.
Yeah, if you were on social media, you might have seen this yesterday, but Cantwell, he did an interview. I guess it was right after he made his commitment. He took some shots at our boy Pete Nakos and On3 Sports, and some of the things that they've been reporting. And it wasn't a money decision. I came to Miami because of their track record. And so you didn't want to go to Georgia, the school that's put more players in the NFL over the last handful of years than any other, even Alabama. Like
track record.
Right. So that's where. Dude, just say they paid you a crap ton of money to come play college football. Like, no one's going to blame you. We all know what it is. Like, I'm not saying Miami's not a good program or that, it wasn't I like them both equally and then this school offered me more money. That's perfectly fine.
Right.
We all know what it is. It's just, I hate when people come out and say, they don't know what they're talking about. We know exactly what we're talking about. And we're right too, but you just want to act like, I'm better than that. I wouldn't stoop low for that money. Yeah, you would. You're 18 years old and someone flashed $2.5 million in front of you.
Exactly.
Who wouldn't say yes to that? We're not dumb.
Right. You want to talk about track record. I've seen the Georgia Bulldogs make it to the college football playoff on multiple occasions. Miami, they had Cam Ward. That's about it.
It's like, congratulations, dude. Just take the money and be happy with it. You're going to
Exactly.
go, you're about to go live in Miami in a high-rise apartment, I would imagine. You're going to drive probably Carson Beck's leftover, hand-me-down Lamborghini. You're going to get set up with the Cavender twins' cousin, like, and you're making $2.5 million a year.
Right.
You're going to be fine, big dog. Like, don't worry about it. Just be grateful for the opportunity that you were given. I just stuff like that. Just like, come on, man. We know what world we live in. So that's what's going on in the world of college athletics there. Just a little bit of an update there on the recruiting and NIL fronts. For both basketball and football. And since you did mention the Tennessee Titans, we did find out yesterday, Damien, that they will be opening their season in Denver against the Broncos and Bo Nix. How you feel about that? You excited?
Hey, I welcome the challenge. You know, if you're Cam Ward, nothing says welcome to the NFL than looking out at your best receiver and seeing who's across from him in the reigning defensive player of the year in Pat Surtain. But I welcome the challenge, man. It's a new season. I'm excited to see even what Bo Nix has to do. You know, the second year in the system with Sean Payton over there in Denver. I think it's a great challenge to start the season. I ain't scared.
No, it should be hey, I mean, if you can get a win in that one, that'll certainly give you some momentum moving forward there. But yeah, big opportunity for Cam Ward as he's expected to make his debut in week 1 against the Broncos there in Denver. So some exciting news there for the Damians of the world who can't wait and have convinced themselves that the Titans are going to make the playoffs, even though they're probably going to go 6-11.
Hey, there's 32 teams right now that have the same exact record. They're all fighting for the same trophy at the end of the season. We have a chance.
Well, yes, you do.
You have a
chance, and that's all you can ask for sometimes. So, all right, so that's everything going on. Just some housekeeping there to keep you up to date what's going on in the world of sports. But we do have the main event coming up, the Mount Rushmore of SEC college football programs today, the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies. So go ahead, keep sending those in. We already have a bunch of them that y'all have submitted this morning. 205-834-9450 there on the courtesy GMC text line. We're going to take a quick break on the other side. I'm going to share my Mount Rushmore. Damian's going to share his, and then we will read yours. The Texas A&M Mount Rushmore coming up next here on Morning Jox. Oh, this is a song I'd be fine if I never heard again. 6:36. Welcome back in Wednesday edition of Morning Jox here on Jox 94.5. Conrad, Damien, and Sheck Weiss here with you. I wish I was feeling really rich.
Texas A&M put the song on the map, didn't they?
You know what? Yes, I'll give them credit for that because I despise this song. And so then, yeah, sure. Yep. This was Texas A&M. I'd rather be associated with this than the that Kanye song that we're allowed to like because it was before all this stuff happened. So yeah, exactly that one. That's right, Damien. That's the one. That is the one. All right. Well, if you missed it, it's time for our Texas A&M Mount Rushmore. Again, keep sending yours in 205-834-9450. We're going to get to yours here coming up in just a moment, but if you've missed this exercise, we go through. You can do it however you want. We are trying to pick the 4 greatest college football players from all 16 SEC programs. You can do yours however you want. Greatest, favorite, maybe the 4 you hate the most because you just hate that program. Whatever it may be for you, your Mount Rushmore, you send those in, we share them, but we go through ours first. So I'll start off here. My Texas A&M Mount Rushmore. So as I said earlier, I got 2 guys on the offensive side of the ball, 2 guys on the defensive side of the ball. And I'll be, I'm just going to be honest. All of these guys have played in the last 20 years. A lot of recency bias here, but it is what it is. So we're going to start at the top. I think somebody that everyone will have on their list has to be Johnny Football, Mr. Johnny Manziel, one of the most exciting college football players of all time. Obviously didn't work out for him at the professional level, but there's no doubt about what he did for Texas A&M football. And the win over Alabama, the fantastic success that him and Mike Evans had, winning a Heisman Trophy. Maybe his sophomore year or second season didn't go quite as well for Texas A&M, but still, nonetheless, the greatest quarterback in Texas A&M football history, Johnny Manziel. All right, I then have his running mate, Mike Evans. Tough to put anybody else on there. Mike Evans, one of the best college wide receivers here of the modern era. Just an absolute beast. And then when you found out that this was a guy they pulled off the basketball team at Texas A&M, it really makes you start to question how good you are at anything in your life. So Mike Evans would certainly be on my Mount Rushmore there. Now for the defensive side of the ball, got to go with Myles Garrett. Not just because he's arguably the best defensive player on the planet right now, but an absolute wrecking ball there at Texas A&M. And, one of the bright spots when, not saying they weren't having success, but again, Texas A&M just kind of perennially underachieving a lot of times. And I'm not saying that as a shot, that's the reality of it. But Myles Garrett, one of those guys that shined through all of that and was just a dominant force. And then similar to Myles Garrett, I also have to go Von Miller. I think it'd be tough to find a better list of 4 guys in the modern era of college football that have been as dominant as those 4 have. They would certainly stack up with just about any other Mount Rushmore, in my opinion. So that's mine. Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans, Myles Garrett, Von Miller. Damien, where are you going for your Texas A&M Mount Rushmore?
Well, Conrad,
is it the exact same?
A little bit more difficult, but I have the exact same as you. I have Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans, Von Miller, and Myles Garrett as well. Honorable mention Ryan Swope, and Isaiah Spiller.
Okay.
Ryan Swope and Isaiah Spiller. But if everybody is a fan of the quarterback position, and we know how impactful Johnny Manziel was, just take a look at the leader in all-time passing yards in Texas A&M history.
Would you like to tell us who it is?
No, I wouldn't.
So you're telling me we have a Mount Rushmore for Texas A&M and we don't have their all-time leading passer?
No, we don't, because he actually wasn't good. He just stayed there the longest.
Oh, okay. So it's a longevity thing.
He played school and ball.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that he's going to show up on some people's list. So
it's fine.
Just go ahead and prepare ourselves to see a little Kellen Mond action this morning.
Yeah,
but
1-3 against Auburn, 0-4 against Alabama.
Yeah, I know.
2-2 against Arkansas.
I know. I just feel like you're, treating him like he's Voldemort or something. Like you can't say his name. Like if you say his name, something bad's going to happen.
Listen, he was good.
Yeah, he was good. He almost beat Clemson that one year.
What's the key word in that?
Beat?
Almost.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But hey, he had a good career at Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, he certainly did. And so there's a lot of players that had great careers at Texas A&M, and a lot of you We do have some lists coming in that are certainly different than mine and Damien's. So we're going to take a quick break, come back on the other side. Keep sending them in. You still have some time here on the Wednesday edition of Morning Jox. 205-834-9450. That'll get you on the courtesy text line, and we will read your Texas A&M Mount Rushmores on the other side. And quickly, as a reminder, we try to give you a heads up on this each and every day. Tomorrow, figured we keep going with the same color scheme. Tomorrow we'll do Mississippi State. So that'll be the Thursday one. And then how about this? We'll go ahead and tell you who I think we should do on Friday. I'm sure Damien's not going to have a problem with this. So I think tomorrow we do Mississippi State, and then Friday, I think we're going to do Tennessee.
Let's go.
I know that's the one that Damien's been waiting for. So go ahead, keep sending yours in. Texas A&M, we're going to read those on the other side, but go ahead, start thinking Mississippi State tomorrow, Tennessee Friday, just planning out the rest of the week for SEC Mount Rushmores. We get back to that when we return here on Jox 94.5.
646 here on Morning Jox, Jox 94.5. Speaking of getting stronger, let me tell you about our friends at Blue Chew. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, Staxin in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets are performance enhancement for the bedroom and can help men gain extra confidence when it's time to perform. Like I said, it's an online prescription, so you don't have to worry about going to the doctor, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy because it ships right to your door. Let Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. You know I can hook you up for the free. You go to bluechew.com, use promo code JOX, J-O-X, at checkout for your first month free with our friends at Blue Chew. The only thing you have to pay for is $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code JOX to receive your first month free. And like I tell you every single day, just chew it and do it.
Well, continuing on with our Texas A&M Mount Rushmore conversation, we hear from you now. If you missed it, me and Damian had the exact same list, as did Tim from Coleman, who chimes in with his list. So we all had Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans, Von Miller, and Myles Garrett on our Texas A&M Mount Rushmore. Appreciate you chiming in there, Tim. Oh, he's here. John Mack. I was getting worried that he was going to miss the conversation. All right, our resident Aggie fan, who does he have on the Texas A&M Mount Rushmore? He has John David Crow, running back. Johnny freaking football, as he puts it, at number 2.
Got it for the kids.
At number 3, Dat Nigan. And then number 4, Von Miller. So that is his Mount Rushmore. Oh, did you even, man, he's even got a Photoshop. He even sent in an actual picture of Mount Rushmore with all these guys Photoshopped on it. Good bonus points for you, John Mack. All right. I appreciate you. Appreciate you chiming in.
He knows it a lot better than I do.
I know. I just appreciate, since he loves to, since he's a certified hater, I'm glad that he is also joining in the conversation like this. This is what we want, John Mack. Good morning. Appreciate you chiming in. All right, somebody else, they chime in. They say Johnny Manziel, Myles Garrett, Mike Evans, Ryan Tannehill.
Hey, and I give a lot of props to Ryan Tannehill. Man came in as a receiver, ended up playing quarterback, had some pretty good success.
Made the best of the situation, and, I mean, clearly worked out for him, at least for a time in the NFL.
It did.
There were some good years there in Tennessee.
It was indeed. He got us to an AFC championship. Well, Derrick Henry got us to an AFC championship. He just so happened to be the quarterback.
Correct. But yeah, so all right, thank you, Luke. Appreciate you sitting in your list there. Max, he says, Max is talking about the Pete Rose ban. He says it was a lifetime ban for a reason, keyword lifetime, and if I'm correct, he positioned to be reinstated during his lifetime and was denied. That is true there. So yeah, if you missed that, Pete Rose now going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame since he has passed away. But back to Mount Rushmore, Jamari from Talladega. He chimes in. He goes, Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans, Myles Garrett, Von Miller as well. His honorable mentions, though, Ryan Swope and Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, much better at Texas A&M than in the NFL. Not that he's bad in the NFL, but just...
Yeah, expectations-wise, I thought he was going to be a little bit better.
And he has... he's been paid like he's better than he is in the NFL.
Yeah,
we'll just put it that way. But hey, good for... I mean...
That's a fact.
Can't knock him for that. All right, someone chimes in. Good morning in War Eagle. He would put Kellen Mond, Von Miller, Myles Garrett, and John David Crow on the Mount Rushmore of Texas A&M players.
3 out of 4 ain't bad.
Cliff chimes in. He goes, John David Crow, Johnny Manziel, Von Miller, and Mike Evans. Honorable mention for him, Myles Garrett. Appreciate the list there, Cliff. Dexter, he chimes in. He goes, Dat Nigan, Von Miller, Myles Garrett, and Johnny Manziel. I like it. All right, here's a different one. Tyler from Huntsville. He goes, Von Miller, John David Crow, Johnny Football, Marcellus Bennett.
Okay.
It's a little bit of an underrated one there. I like that. Marcellus Bennett was definitely a nice player. Let's see. Somebody says, somebody chimes in. They say 1975 Rock. Seen them 3 or 4 times in concert with my daughters. Their song Girls is their best song. All right.
Okay.
Appreciate that. They also chime in. They say Mike Evans, Von Miller, and Dat Nigan would be on their Mount Rushmore for Texas A&M. Jason chimes in. He goes, Johnny Manziel, Von Miller, Myles Garrett, John David Crow. Okay. Let's see. Freeman from Huntsville. He goes, Dat Nigan, Dante Hall, Myles Garrett, and Von Miller.
I didn't realize Dante Hall went to Texas A&M until about maybe a year ago.
Really?
I didn't know where he went to college.
Just dog.
Yeah.
All right, John, he chimes in. He says, really can't stand the Aggies, so mine would be the mascot, the cheerleaders, the 12th man, and then I guess Johnny Football.
It's fair.
Everyone puts some respect on Johnny Football's name at least, right? And we can all agree on that one. You maybe didn't love him, but
yeah,
it's really fun to watch.
It was.
All right, Danny from Coleman, he says, everyone's list should be the same as Conrad and Damien's. Says Kellen Mond wasn't bad his first year. The problem is he got worse every year that he was there.
Thank you.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I think that's a pretty generally fair statement. Let's see. Someone says Johnny Manziel is the best college QB I've ever seen play. He was the Michael Jordan of college football in my eyes. I watched A&M games just to watch him. Phenomenal. He was one of a kind, baby. No doubt about it. Someone chimes in, whatever happened to Jimbo Fisher? Is he still alive? Yeah, he's still alive.
700 ranches to take care of, man.
He's still alive.
Got other things to worry about.
Someone chimes in. He says, my Mount Rushmore is Cam Dewberry, LT Overton, Gene Stallings, and Bear Bryant because all four left A&M for Alabama. Sorry, not sorry. Really hope that Cam Dewberry one ends up paying off this year. Has a big shoes to fill there for Tyler Booker coming in there on the offensive line. Will, $5. No one says the 12th man. Unfortunately, Will, you already lost that bet because somebody just just said that. Let's see. Nick's picks. He chimes in. He goes, Gene Stallings, Johnny Manziel, Myles Garrett, and Jace Sternberger, the pride of the Birmingham Stallions. Giddy up.
You better believe it, baby.
I like that one. That's a good pull right there. And then he says honorable mentions Ryan Swope, Mike Evans, Von Miller, and Ryan Tannehill.
I'm here for it. Oh yeah, John Mack just called. It's
it's Dan Wynn. I appreciate everyone telling me that. I didn't know how to pronounce his name. I don't know. I'm trying my best here this morning.
He did keep it classy. He was very professional.
Well, I appreciate everyone. Like 10 people have now said that. Okay, sorry everybody. Yeah, it's Dan. My bad.
That win. It's something they didn't
Somebody said, do you not know any Vietnamese people? No, John Mack, I'm sorry, I don't. I don't. My apologies there. Let's see. Someone says, they just say Ryan Tannehill. That's all they say. All right.
He was good.
Let's see. Hastings, he goes LT Overton and Cocaine Cowboy Johnny Manziel. All right. I like it. Bennett from Beeham, he says we should do a Mount Rushmore of all-time college football players. Yeah, we could do that one day. That'd be tough.
Yeah.
We'd probably have to separate it into eras. Oh man, that would be really difficult. Like Cam Newton, Tim Tebow. I'm just thinking like a modern era of Mount Rushmore. You'd have like, oh God, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow. I don't know. Who would you want on the defensive side of the ball? Like Ndamukong Suh or something like that, maybe?
That'd be tough.
Then, I mean, how are you going to leave out a Joe Burrow or how are you going to leave out a Derrick Henry or That'd be a tough one. That would certainly be a contentious one. There would be a lot of debate and discussion on that one. But appreciate all of you sending that one in. JP, he goes, how did no one put Jimbo Fisher on their Mount Rushmore? Because we have great listeners who are smart, intelligent college football fans.
Yeah, he played at Stanford.
Unlike me, who doesn't know how to pronounce somebody's last name.
It happens, man.
So I appreciate y'all correcting me. I apologize. I didn't run back the pronunciations last night. I apologize, and I will do better tomorrow. But appreciate you all sending those in all throughout the morning. Again, y'all have been incredible the last week and a half as we've gone through this exercise. Tomorrow, we will be back at 6 a.m. We will be doing our Mississippi State Mount Rushmore's Tennessee Volunteers on Friday. So go ahead, get those gears turning for who is going to be on your Hail State Mount Rushmore. We will bring it to you live tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. But right now, McElroy and Kubelik in the morning live from the region's tradition.